Welcome to Layer the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, another in my series of heavy thoughts. This is where I take a moment to ramble on for a bit about things that have been on my mind. So the topic for today is, should bands and artists open up their catalogs, release everything that they've got? Should they release whatever live recordings they've got in their vaults? Should they release demos and all this other stuff? A lot of bands have done this already. You know, with the CD age and bonus tracks, you'd often get B-sides, maybe even demos, you know, depending on who the artist was, or a rare live cut. But what inspired this video was Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam recently released, and I don't know if they just released this on streaming. I think it's only digital. Something like 200 plus concerts that they just put out on. I've seen it on Spotify. I don't know if you can also get it digitally, maybe through their website, or if you wanted to purchase it, or maybe it's on iTunes. But I mean, they just released all this at one time. And I know they did something like this back, I'm going to say it was the late 90s, early 2000s, where they were releasing all these live shows. They released them all at once on CD, and they came in just sort of cardboard sleeves. It was a cardboard looking cover with just Pearl Jam and the date of the show and the location on it. It was songs on the back. It was nothing, no fancy packaging, but they just released all these live shows at one time, and I'm guessing that's how they were able to do what they're doing now. They must have archived these things and just released them all. But there's some really interesting stuff. They even have some that they call, I forget what the title they used, like Inside the Vault or something, where they release some like really old shows, like stuff from, you know, really early in their career. So it got me thinking, should more bands do this? And I see some bands doing this. Like, yes, if you look at them on Spotify, there are just tons of live shows that they've released, like from, I don't know if they're all from the same tour or a similar era or something, but they just released a whole bunch of live shows. And it got me thinking, should more bands do this? And we're living in an age where the technology is there for bands to do this. You can release stuff via your website. I think Metallica was doing that, and maybe they still do this. I think they had a Metallica Live website for a while where they would put up every show from their tours, because I think at this point, when bands are going out, they're recording everything. And it's easy to record a show, to have a soundboard copy made. And so I'm sure they're archiving this stuff somewhere. So why not open it up to the fans? And why not, if you have stuff in your back catalog, if you've got live shows from your early days or any point in your career, why not put these things out? And I guess part of it is, well, what's in it for the artist? Are they going to make any money by putting it up on a streaming platform? I don't know. I mean, maybe if they did something where they offered it through their website and you just pay $5 or something for a lossless download of a show. And, you know, imagine if, and some of these bands may have done this. I think Kiss may have done this to a certain degree. But imagine if like Kiss or you know, some of the classic bands, Rush, Black Sabbath, AC/DC. Imagine if they just said, okay, we're creating a website, and there's going to just be hundreds of shows on here. Some of the quality is going to be great. Some of it's going to be not so great, but it's more of a historical thing. I can't help but think that for these bigger bands that you know, fans out there would really dig this and would go and pay for these things, you know, if it was reasonable, let's say $5 or something to download the show. I can't help but think that people would do this. I know I would love it if like Black Sabbath did something like this, and all of a sudden they just open up a website and there's like, you know, hundreds of shows on there. I would absolutely love that. And I would also be totally fine with more bands if they started releasing things in limited editions. Like I know I made a video of like remasters, reissues, how much is enough, when is too much, enough. Well, if artists started doing things like, okay, we're going to release this vinyl box set that's all rare live shows, and it's going to be a limited quantity, or it's going to be an on-demand type of thing. We're gonna print a couple thousand, and then it's just going to be on an on-demand basis, or CD box sets or things like that. I mean, I can't help but think that people would be interested in these things, and that there is a market for it. Yes, is it the average person isn't going to go out and going to want to pay $300 for a vinyl bootleg live box set, but there's I think enough hardcore fans out there for these big bands that they would do that. So why not at this point? And for a lot of these bands, like for instance, yes, with them putting all those live shows up, they're at a point in their career where I don't want to say they're at the end of their career, but they're in the back half of their career. It's the same thing with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath's not going to release any new music, or at least they say they're not going to. AC/DC is still putting out stuff, but again, I think it's obvious that AC/DC is at the back end of their career. So why not open the vaults? Why not put these things out there, archive these things for history's sake, for the fans? And the other thing is rare and odd stuff. Some bands are really good about this. Some bands hold on real tightly to this stuff, and they don't want it to get out. They don't want to have rough demos or studio outtakes where they're stopping and starting a song and everything. But I think there is an audience for these things, and I don't see what the harm would be in putting more of this stuff out there. And again, with technology now, you can sell it directly to the fans. You don't need to expect somebody to carry some massive vinyl box set of bootleg shows at a store anymore. You can just sell these things direct. A person who was really good at this was Frank Zappa. Frank seemed to have no problem releasing anything. And in fact, I mean, his stuff was always of the highest quality, but he wasn't afraid. I remember he had a series called Beat the Boots, which were box sets where these were commonly bootlegged shows. And Frank's attitude was like, well, if somebody else is making money off of it, I might as well take it, clean it up, put the proper information on it, proper song titles and show dates, and put it out myself. And he did. And I think it was pretty popular. I think people really dug it. So he's a good example of an artist that there's so many hardcore Zappa fans that you could just keep releasing live Zappa stuff and nobody's going to complain. So, all right. So there you go. My heavy thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think that artists should just open up their vaults and release this stuff? Where are you at this? Take a couple of your all-time favorite bands, and would you buy something like this? Would you buy a CD or vinyl box set of archived rare live shows from your favorite artist? Would you pay good money for this? Would you buy it directly from their website? How far would you go with it? I'm not sure what Pearl Jam's. I guess Pearl Jam is like, hey, we got this stuff. We might as well put it out. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is this something that you think more bands should do? Open up the vaults and just let the floodgates loose and let it all out there for the fans. Let me know in the comments. Let me know your favorite bands. Would you love it if your favorite band did this? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Make sure you keep your eye on the community tab at the Layer of the Alchemist YouTube page so you can participate in some of the polls. And until we see you again, make sure you rock hard, ride free.